Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. So in this video, we're going to refute the atheist or agnostic assertion when, for example, a Muslim would say that he did something good and he did it because this is what his religion commands him to do good things. So the atheists and agnostics will have a knee-jerk reaction and they'll say something like, oh, you must have some sort of a personality issue if you have to rely on religion to tell you what is good and what is bad. How can you function as a human being if you need religion to tell you what is good? I mean, couldn't you just rationally work it out yourself? Why do you need religion to tell you what's good and what's bad? And why do you do good things? Because your religion tells you to do those good things. Couldn't you just do those good things without religion? Because there's so many people who are not religious and they do good things. So this is the argument that they use. So we're going to address that. And the reason why that assertion came up, because there was an article posted about how a man hit a woman in a van and then he carried her to the hospital. And that kind of related to something that happened to me in the past. And so what happened was, and I put this comment in the article, and I said, I once hit a cyclist with my car. It was a confronting moment, but I immediately jumped out to help him. He had some cuts and bruises, so I did what I could, helped clean him up. I bandaged him and stayed by his side. We ended up talking for quite a while. In a way, I became a bit of a psychologist in that moment. Funny enough, we became mates after that. I took him to his bike store and brought him a brand new one. I also paid for all the damages to his clothing, including his ripped workwear. It did cost me a few $1,000s, but I never regretted it. I believe, and this is the part where they got a knee-jerk reaction. I said, I believe this is part of my faith, owning your mistake and helping others with sincerity, and I trust that one day, if I ever find myself in trouble, someone out there will do the same for me. So the part they had an objection with is when I said, I believe this is part of my faith. And so Stu Oz writes back and he says, this is an atheist, obviously. He says, if you need God to tell you this, you might want to think about your own personality a little, right? And so my immediate response was, interesting if I had done something awful, suppose it's a terrorist attack, or suppose, I beat someone up and mentioned my faith, or even if I didn't mention my faith, just by my name, you'd probably say it's because of my religion. But I do something good and sincere and suddenly it's my personality that needs work. Funny how that works. So this is a thing, folks. This is a thing. If a Muslim does anything good, and he mentions his religion, they're like, how dare you mention your religion? Why do you have to bring religion up? But soon as you do something evil, you don't even have to bring religion. They will bring religion up. They will say, oh, it's because of his religion. It's because, these guys practice incestual relationships. They'll go into all these scenarios, right? They'll invent all these scenarios to tie it back to your religion. Oh, it's because your prophet was like this and that's why you're like that. But as soon as you do something good, and you mention, this is what my faith encourages to be good, how dare you bring religion up? Why do you need religion to tell you how to be good, right? So that's the one inconsistency. And the second inconsistency is this. These people have no problem in their governments reminding them to be good people, right? So if you catch public transport, and I catch public transport to work, you look at the windows and you have all these labels, and these labels say, give priority to pregnant women. So if a pregnant woman jumps on the bus, then give her priority. Give her your seat. They'll say give the elderly, if you see an elderly person, whatever, give them their seat, give them priority over your seat. They'll have a label to say, do not put your shoes on the seat, right? So are we going to now accuse everyone of personality disorder, that they need all of these signs to remind them to be good people, right? So why don't you have a problem with your government reminding people to be good people? And they do it because this is the instruction of their government on how to be good people. Do you now have a problem with the government and say, why are they accusing everyone of personality? Why are they judging us like this? No, you wouldn't. You would never say that. But if religion says don't cheat, don't steal, don't murder, then you have a problem and say, well, this makes no logical sense. Can't you just differentiate between good and evil? Of course we can differentiate between good and evil. Most people can, but there are some people who can't. For instance, homosexuality. We know that this is evil. A lot of people say this is good. So who ultimately decides what's good and bad? We leave this to God. We leave this to God. Some people believe that they can have consensual marital sex, consensual, outside of marriage. They say as long as it's consensual, there's nothing wrong with it. But who ultimately decides? Who ultimately decides whether this is bad for society or good for society? God decides. In religion, we have a consistent moral code, a consistent moral compass. But in atheism and agnosticism, it could vary depending on who you talk to. So I know I'm giving you a gross example, but this is actually a reality. There are actual atheists and agnostics out there who believe in disgusting things, such as even bestiality. I had an ex-Muslim atheist tell me that if an animal shows behavioral consent, then there's nothing wrong with having sexual intimacy with that animal. He actually admitted that. But then you'll have other atheists to say, no, this is immoral, this is wrong. So we ask, who decides? Who decides? So they have differences of opinion on these major issues, major immoral issues, on issues on morality. And that's why we say, yes, you need religion. You need a God to tell you which one is the ultimate truth. Okay? And alhamdulillah, in Islam, in al-Hadith, it actually explicitly says you're not allowed to do this. Okay? Because human beings can have differences of opinion. So yes, you do need at times an almighty God to tell you and judge which is the correct path. Just like you have judges in your country, in the secular liberal world, they also have laws, democratic laws, and they have superiors who actually ultimately judge what is good and what is bad for society. So they'll outlaw certain things and they'll prescribe certain things. But do you have a problem with that? No, but when it comes to God and religion, you suddenly melt. You have a meltdown moment. How dare a God adjudicate our lives and affairs when you have substituted God for your governments, your politicians who adjudicate what is prescribed, what is permissible, and what is not permissible. So why the double standards? And here is the final point. You say, why do you need religion to tell you not to do something that's bad? What do you need? Couldn't you work that out yourself? Of course, there are times where you can work it out. But there are some people who are so wretched and evil that they can't work it out, right? So when I hit that person on the bike, maybe an evil thought came into my ear and said, you know what? Just drive off. Who cares if you hit him? No one saw it. The guy's on the ground. He's probably unconscious. Just drive off. You'll get away with it. There's no judgment day. You'll get away with it. Who cares? It's just, he'll be right. I'll save all that money, blah, 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 blah. But then a good thought comes into my mind to say, no, you're a religious person. You're going to be judged on the day of judgment. You're not going to be able to get away with this, right? So what religion does is it adds an extra layer of mechanism to prevent you from doing something bad and to help others, because you'll be judged on the day of judgment. But you see, this is why a world of religious people are much better than agnostics and atheists. Because if you're an agnostic and an atheist and you don't believe in the day of judgment, then you could say, well, you know what? I'm not going to be judged. If I don't get caught by the police, I'm going to get away with this. You know what? So what? He's a pest anyway. You drove off. There's no accountability. So would you want to be surrounded with a world of atheists and agnostics who actually think like this? Or would you actually want to be with religious people who say, you know what, I could be judged for this. I could be judged for this, and I could go to hell for this, right? So a religious person always has another layer of preventative mechanism on top of everything else that you have. You may say, well, we've got conscience, we've got the fear of police, we could get punished, there's jail. Well, you know what? We've got an extra layer as religious people to prevent us from doing something bad, and that is knowing that you could get punished for this, right? So this also helps a person from doing evil. And it also encourages believers to do good things, because we also get a reward. We get an afterlife reward. But if you're an atheist and agnostic and you do something good, you're not always going to get rewarded, right? You're not. Okay, you're not always going to get a reward. He may not give you, a present. He may not. He may just take everything from you and just walk off. But in religion, we believe God is going to reward us. So it gives us another layer of encouragement to do something good. So how is religion bad? And a lot of these atheists and agnostics would say, oh, religion was created to control people, right? But what they won't tell you is, sure, let's accept that religion was created to control people. They say, and this is what they actually say too, they control people because a lot of people were bad, so they brought in religion and they brought in these rules to control people so they can be good. So I'm asking this question. If religion was created to make people good, then why is that bad? Why is that bad? And again, I can use that same argument. The governments were created to control people. Politics was created to control people. Right? So are you going to now abandon politics and government? Are you going to abandon all that too? Because that could also be seen as a mechanism to control people. So to end with this, yes, my faith encourages me to be a good person, to be a law-abiding citizen, and to do the good things, just as Satan reminds us to be evil people and do the wrong things. And it is up to us human beings to follow the correct path and to go towards God and to do good things and to avoid evil things.